Hello and welcome to Furious Tea Break. Not Furious Driving, Furious Tea Break, the side channel where we have brief and inconsequential adventures. And today we are looking at my Rover 75 because I am a man of constant sorrow because I've got a soggy bottom. Well, the Rover has anyway. Leaky boots are a constant source of intrigue and pain for Rover 75 owners. Not kinky boots, leaky boots. And this one, sadly, is no different. And I was alerted to this problem by two things. First of all, I came out to the car kind of mid-afternoon, lunchtime-ish, and all the windows were massively steamed up, which means there's water coming into the car. There's dampness and moisture, which is very bad for a car. Secondly, I opened the boot and it's full of water. That was my big giveaway. So let's have a quick look at what might be the problem. Push the button. Push the button. So, I open the back of TikTok. We've got damp stuff. I've been using plastic things to try and hold the carpet away from the corners because the water seems to be accumulating here in these corners. And look, this is actually wet on my fingers down here. It was wetter the other day after it had been raining really badly, and there's some mould forming on the back of there, so I need to give that a good clean up as well when it dries out. Quick side note, interesting stuff in the back of this car. I have a spare strut top for an Alpha 145 Spider GTV 155, yeah, an entire family of cars, possibly even a Fiat Tipo. So I'm not sure whether to sell that or hang on to it just in case, and I mustn't remember to keep leaving this in here. This, I believe, is but there's a number of common places where water seems to come through all the time. First one, which is one I've dealt with previously, is the back of these chrome trims. There's a hole drilled through the panel, there's a clip that goes through there. Over time things contract and water comes through. The trick to that one is to put silicone on the back of the clips, and I did that a while ago when it did start dribbling, and that seemed to cure it at the time. So I'm assuming that's no longer it. This vent down here can allow water through, but it tends to be when the car's driving, and the car's been getting wet when it's been parked, and I've parked it in two different directions so the wind isn't blasting water through there, and it's made no difference. So the other options are this rubber seal. This can dry out a bit and then stops being waterproof, and I did notice there was water on the bottom and inside this trim, so that's one thing I'm going to look at. And secondly, and this really was a smoking gun, these light units have a rubber gasket or a neoprene gasket that sits between these and the bodywork, and that gasket fails as well. So let's have a look inside there, because that is the most common thing, and this water is collecting directly underneath. To get this lamp cluster off, there's only 3 8mm bolts holding the outer bit in place. One there, one up there, and one up in the top hidden. So give a little squeeze to the clip and the light parts of it comes out of there. And when I opened this the other day to double check it, this was actually soaking. There was water swimming in there. I tried to film it on my phone, but it was too dark. The other smoking gun, of course, is when you can tip out your light cluster and water runs out of it, as it did last night as well. I don't know if you can see that or not. There are water droplets on the inside of that lens, so I'll quickly run a hairdryer on this before I put it back together again, because I don't want to trap moisture inside there. And this side doesn't look as wet. And if I peel off this gasket, it is split and it is very heavily indented. It's soaking wet and muddy, so I think this is something of a smoking gun here. Have a quick look at this one as well. That one stayed on the car. That one too it's really wet. It's cracked as well, and it's very, very heavily indented. The root cause of our wet boot, because also if water is coming down here, flowing to there and running through there, then that's not going to be good. And that one's already peeled off. That one wasn't stuck at all. I do wonder if this was a problem someone had in the past and they tried a bit of glue to stop the leakage. Now the solution to this is from Discount MG Rover Supplies, a new neoprene seal. These are about a tenner each plus postage and VAT and the rest, and they're not handed, so you can buy 2, use them either side of the car, and hopefully this will be significantly more waterproof. This all looks a little bit scuzzy in here, so I'm going to get in with the old Diamond Bright Quick Detailer and give us a bit of a clean up before everything goes back together. The clean surface is certainly going to help matters. I'm holding the camera in the wrong hand. anytime you get access to a bit of car you can't normally see, give it a clean, it'll appreciate it. Someone in this car's past loved silicone. When I did the head gasket on it, there was silicone between the head gasket and the block, which is a really weird thing to do. I wonder if this has happened before with the leaking into the boot, and whoever that was, same person, maybe the garage trying to help out, got a bit crafty with the silicone rather than putting new seals in. Because I'm pretty sure if you've got silicone in the wrong place, it won't help matters. It'll just guide water into the wrong place. Be very, very careful with the Stanley blade here. Well, this seemed like a good way of clearing out the inside of the lamp, getting the moisture out. Rotate a microfiber in there with a screwdriver and hopefully that's enough moisture out. It does look, yeah, all the drops are out, that's good. And I've got, I think, as much as I possibly can of the old silicone off without damaging the paint. Just don't worry, you don't want to put scratches and nicks in there because it might rust. I'm actually just getting the last of it off with my thumbnail. Because weirdly, it's just hard enough a nail to scrape it off without damaging the paint. And it's flexible enough to get into all the little joints. So weirdly, sometimes your thumb is the perfect thing to be wheeling around with. There we go. Non-damaging, cleansing thumb, is that a thing? Probably not. There we go. Just need to clean your thumbnails later. That's some nasty bogies. So now I can refit this with the new gasket in there. You can't really mess up fitting these things in because they're not handed. They can fit back to flip over to one side or the other depending which side of the car you're using. But there's a number of holes stamped in them and they have to go over your mounting holes and these little location pins. So you really can't mess it up. He says, carefully messing it up. There we go, and then that will just slump back into there. I need two hands again. So interestingly, this is now pushing a lot harder against the body than it was previously. There's a lot more resistance against tightening it fully against the panel work of the car, which I guess is a good thing because there's so much more depth in that new neoprene rubber. You can see it sealing tight against the car down there. So I'll whack those 3 bolts in each side and hopefully that'll be this potential source of water leaking taken care of. Okay, so those are done up to, well, loosely tight I'm going to call it. It's not an exact number. There's probably a really useful torque setting I could do with to know the exact number to tighten up to, but you don't want to be sort of ugger-duggering it as tight as it will go, partly because it's plastic and it will break, but also you don't want to be crushing that rubber seal completely because it will deform and not seal. So you want to evenly tighten it across all the 3 things so it's not going anywhere, but it's not leaking either. So hopefully we've got that. Now the second thing we're going to do is look at this seal, because this is a rubber seal. Rubber seals lose their water tightness over time, but what we can do though is go and get some silicone cleaner and re-silicone it to give it a bit more plump. So this is Diamond Bright Replenish, which is a rubber and vinyl cleaner and conditioner, and it's very, very, very heavy indeed in silicone. So if we doobly it on there, give it a good old wipe over, that hopefully will clean and plump up the rubber seal and improve its watertightedness. Makes it look nice as well. It makes it look nice as well. Love that sticker. Well, there we go. That's all siliconed nicely. Hopefully it's nicely plumped and waterproofed. I've cleaned this channel around here so that any water coming in should run straight out without trying to get into the lights or into the boot. And also cleaned the inside of the boot lid as well. Hopefully all those things will be enough. As I said, I have previously siliconed the back of this chrome trim, and yeah, I don't think it's the flaps. The only other source of water going to the boot on these cars is water coming off the window, and there's a seal that fails around here and drops it straight down into the boot. I'm really hoping it's not that, because that becomes far more of a serious thing to deal with. But I need a few days of warm, dry weather to dry all this out, which unfortunately I'm not going to get. So I just have to hope now that I've done enough to keep any more water from getting into the boot over the next couple of days, because it's going to be tipping down even more. So fingers crossed I've fixed this. Anyway, So if you too have a soggy bottom in your Rover 75, I hope this has been of some help to you. And if it looks like you too have got crushed, degrading light seals, head over to DMGRS where they can fix you up a set for a tenner each or so, plus postage and VAT and stuff. And hopefully you too can have a dry bottom, boot, whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all the usual bits and pieces. Head over back to Furious Driving for more bigger jobs. Goodbye.